Okay, so welcome to this official, but also very relaxed and open Q&A about the Lightbody work. And I'm Jenny Lyon Rainbow Anderson, and for those who are watching the replay may not know all about me, so I'm just going to do a short introduction. Obviously, the ladies that are here knows who I am. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. So I am a new earth mentor. I'm a healer and a channel. I also help my clients with starting up their businesses, as well as helping them activate their light body, which is a part of their energetic sort of upgrades that is required as well. So this is what I do. I had my own light body work done in 2009. So we are looking here now 14 years, that's when everything changed for me. So before that, yes, I've had a couple of soul upgrades. I had a couple of things that happened, for me spiritually. But it was really what everything changed when I had the light body work. And actually, personally, I didn't actually really know what I was what I was doing. I just had this calling, as opposed to like I didn't rationalize this. And I think both actually Monique and Carol, who's here today, are very clear on that same thing. It was a pull. Both of you was like, I need to do this. And that's actually what happened for me as well. So I always look at this work as when people are called to have to do it, then they're meant to do it. So it's almost like you will just know. You'll just know. So that was me. I would say as well, at the time, 2009, I had my daughter and my first child. So I went through obviously motherhood and had my light body work done, and it was a lot of energetic changes, not just from having the work done, but actually me changing as a person, having children and all those things as well. So we had quite an intense time for a while there. And then as soon as my son was a little bit older, I think he was about 2, that's when I really went for, it was almost like my mission was, I was clucking to get everything going, and I was so ready. But at the same time, I was actually healing from I had 2 C-sections, and it was just horrific at the time. But that's actually what happened. So since then, I was kind of like unstoppable in a sense. But it did take me, at the time, I was feeling like this small human who had this big kind of vision or big idea of what I wanted to do. And I had no roadmap how to get there. And there was all the limiting sort of beliefs and limiting programming that I've gone through as a human, that I thought I could never do that. As soon as I had the light body work done, everything started to become a lot clearer, and it felt possible. And everything was like, oh, it's just about a matter of time kind of thing. So that was my own personal experience. Now, when it actually comes to the work itself, I would say that it is progressive. We just said this a little bit before we started out. It is progressive, and it's like it gets done, but then the changes will happen like 3 months later, 6 months later, more changes, 12 months later, more changes, a year later, 2 years, and it goes on, and you open up more and more. It's almost like you're creating a new platform energetically for your entire life. So all the structures as you knew them, and all the structures externally and internally, will crumble into a certain extent, so that you can create a new way of being, operating and living and all those things. So for those, this is for the people also watching the replay. So there is some information that I recorded. So this was last year in the summer. There is a few masterclasses that are on YouTube, and there's a few masterclasses that are on in the Facebook group as well, which is explaining about the light body work and how it penetrates all the different areas of your life. It's not just your business, it's your health, your relationships. It because it starts opening up all these new pathways of consciousness. So all the areas where you operate as a human will be affected, which includes relationships, which includes your business, which includes your career, which includes your health, which includes your intuition, like who you are. So it's almost like you can't say, well, this is the one specific outcome, because it's not, because it's all the different places of where you operate as a human that is going to get affected and rebooted. I'd almost say rebooted, because with the relationships, for example, which is normally quite a big one for most people and for myself. So every time I went through this huge change, only to having to send my husband to have the same process, because I was like, I've just gone through this, you have to have this done. If you don't have this done, it's probably going to be really difficult for us. He's like, okay then, and off he went. So I'm not saying that partners have to go through it, but because of who I am and what I want to do, I suppose he was already kind of on board from before. So, but that changed. But up until then, it felt quite challenging to, now Debs is coming, it felt quite challenging to negotiate new ways of being in a relationship. Hi Debs, come on in. And it was almost like things that I was okay with before and kind of accepted as a part of how I operated, all of a sudden the veil was down and I was like, this is wrong. Like, this whole thing is wrong. I can't live like this. How do I communicate and change the dynamic with my husband without splitting up from him and the best for the children as well? So it was this, and I know Monique can share about this as well, but it was this kind of challenge that I had to go through so that I could, then he agreed to have the work done as well. And I'll tell you now, when he did that, those type of conversations were much fewer, because we were like, oh yeah, I've got the same glasses on now, we can see what's true and what's not true. So it was kind of easier when he had gone through the process as well. But before that, I had to negotiate a lot with him in terms of how I saw things, and he was still awake, so he wasn't asleep, so he could see them, but it was more of a negotiate, especially old paradigm patterns, but so that's what I was to say. So if anyone like watching the replay, I'm not going to go through your health, wealth, relationship, I'm not going to go through all that, because you can go to YouTube, watch those videos there, or go to the Facebook group and watch them there, because otherwise I'm just repeating myself. But yeah, so that's with the Lightbody work. Now, when it comes to the process itself, I might want to just say this in case you're not sure. So with deep inner work, as we call it, the way we work is obviously with a subconscious mind, and we work with trauma. We work with the things that have programmed us to be limited. That's a specific process in itself. And you use divine healing, Monique. I know that Amanda uses her things. We use the different tools, energetic tools, so we can access the subconscious mind, and we can change the beliefs, and we can do that. And there's loads of stuff out there, hypnotherapy. We've got all the different tools that will change our behavior and clear the trauma. I do divine healing. That's great, and that's something that I always encourage. And with the Ascension Clearing Kit, that's something that you use in there. Now, with the Lightbody work itself, it has 6 specific processes which are not they're not working on your emotional baggage or programming. It literally are a process to, the first one is body consciousness realignment, then it's the Nephilim, we remove the shadow consciousness. So we basically work with 6 different sessions that are specifically designed, that are actually etheric surgery. What happens is that, so many people say, oh, I want a Lightbody work, but what happens is that all the emotional programming and all the things that have not been addressed to date, i.e. maybe your core wounding, the very things that have kept you stuck for your entire life, whether you've been functioning in your stuckness, right, will come up to heal, so that you can completely step into your full potential. And when I say fullest potential, I mean limitless, like I mean your superhuman potential. So although that is a little bit of a bumpy road, to me, it's almost like, well, without it, why am I even here? Like, it's like, I'm like, why would I even, like, you know, what's the point? So to me, it's like a given, because I can see my own life 14 years later, how it's completely changed. The way I would say as well with so that is the specific. So when people have that specific, so we have seen in other, I've heard from other people, and I've seen in other ways, processes, when people don't do the emotional trauma work between the sessions, this is why it's 12 sessions in the program itself, they start popping. So basically all their trauma and all their stuff comes out at once. And I've heard people being paralyzed in their bodies because so much trauma is coming out from actually the Lightbody process, but there's no cleaning up tool to clean up the stuff. And then they kind of pop. It's like too much for them. Somebody who is really ill, for example, who have had, let's say, fibromyalgia, like severe, you know, really severe, if no emotional work is done between the Lightbody sessions, they can actually become paralyzed. It's actually dangerous, because we're actually creating new pathways for the light to enter the cells. And if the cells are filled with trauma and filled of stuff that is blocking, and it all comes out like that, it's almost like going on a detox and take all the detox tablets in one day that you were meant to take over 6 weeks or something, right? You take them all in one day, you know, your body, you might actually collapse, right? So it's the same. This is why the emotional work is so important between the sessions, so that we do it gracefully, because it's intense as it is. So that's why I developed it in this way. So we have heard, or have heard of people actually not doing it carefully enough, and it just goes to pot. It's just it's just crazy. So we don't want to do that. We do it nicely and taking really good care throughout the process, so that we are transforming gracefully. The very, very reason that a person would like to do this is usually they have a spiritual calling and a mission and something so deep in their heart that they want to materialize, but they don't really know how, and they have no roadmap, and they don't know what that is. It's too far, almost fetched, that it can't land in the body just yet, right? So what happens is, I just want to talk about this embodiment piece. So, for example, I'm going to take an example here. There is a lady who I know, she's my client, and she's an incredible channel. And because she's taking so much light through her channel, and then so we are just starting working now properly, right? One-on-one. Her body has collapsed, literally. So she's put on like 30 pounds. She can't take care of herself, because the mission and the power of the light coming through her body, and she's a walk-in, by the way, as well. So she's really like, you know, powerful soul, cannot hold the mission. The body cannot hold the mission. So she cannot carry on the overall mission for a lifetime unless she has the work done, which means that at this point, she couldn't actually carry on doing anything. I mean, she's not sick, but she's kind of out of her body a lot. And that's not embodied leadership. So we need to do it embodied, so we can hold the frequency of wherever that is. Now, if you guys imagine us changing the world one piece at a time, whether that is you working from in a corporate environment, this lady does work with £1 million companies to change the energetics of the people inside, but she's not robust energetically as herself to do it yet. This is why we need to do this. So if you think of us as leaders, light leaders, working wherever we are working, whether we are working with individuals, whether we are working in groups, whether we're working with companies, whether we are working wherever we are working, because this is a new frequency. Like, this is something that's never been brought into any type of organization before, the way we do it. They are open to mindset, and they are open to mindfulness, and like more pausing, more and intentional sort of creating. But the deep energy work, people have not generally received it. So if we're gonna bring new idea, higher consciousness, more clarity of the collective change, because it's a collective change of human. It's like we are creating a new human. We are changing the energetics of people. The people doing that need to have done that themselves, i.e. you guys. So that's how we make the change, or we will compromise our own bodies, our own health, our own. The mission might be really clear, but if the body is not prepared for the big thing, it's the gap. And this is where the work comes in. So it's like, I talk about the embodied leadership, and this is what I mean then. So for example, this lady who we're just going to start this week, actually, she is basically, her body, she was like, I don't even know what's happening. I don't even understand it. The messages are so clear from spirit, and I'm on my mission. She's a powerful soul, but her body is completely crumbling, which is, so we can't do this. And this is, I'm not saying to scare anyone. I'm just saying that the power of the light can be so strong that, or the power of the mission can be so strong that the body then starts breaking or starts compromising. And this is not possible for long-term solutions, right? We need to be well and full embodied. So that's what I wanted to say on the actual mission piece. When it comes to things like clarity of your life and your purpose and where you're going with everything in life, the clarity of everything becomes magnified, because you're like, I don't want those kind of relationships anymore. Oh, I want to create this. Like, there is the clarity becomes so strong and powerful that also creation starts becoming a lot easier to just kind of do. Like, it's okay, I'm going to do this now, and do this now, and there's less resistance. So personally, what I found was that what I thought I couldn't do before because of whatever programming or beliefs, now 14 years down the line, if I just decide I'm doing something, I'm doing it, and it's just happening. I'm like, okay, that was easy. Like, okay, I had to do things, like maybe make some emails, and like I had to do things to make it happen, but it's like, bang, done, I'm doing it. So that feeling of not having to walk uphill, getting stuff done is, I mean, I'd pay over my head for that, because like, that's like, you don't want this inner battle with yourself that you go, oh gosh, when is it going to happen? What are we going to do? But it does take a little bit of time. So it might not always be immediate, because you're still changing and transforming. So for those who came in a little bit late, I was just want to say, and also people watching replay, obviously I wasn't going to go into very technicality of things. And if you wanted to catch up on a lot of the Lightbody work and how it works, and how it enhances everything in your life, we have the Lightbody sessions on the YouTube channel, Jenny Lyon, and also in the Facebook group. There is Light Up Your Inner CEO Facebook group. There is also a guide section, which has got 7 masterclasses, 30-minute long, that you can go and watch in your own time, explaining much more in detail. But this was really the Q&A for today. So I am going to now just stop talking. And then we have Debs and Amanda and Michelle here. And it's kind of over to you guys if you have any questions to me that has been on your mind. And then I can maybe answer some. Carol might be answering some. Monique might be answering some, and so forth. Before we do that, I would like Monique to introduce herself and Carol to introduce herself, so you kind of know who you're talking to. So Monique, if you can maybe say like your background a little bit, and where you're at, and how long ago you had the process, and just so people get a little feel of who you are and where you are, and then we do the same with Carol as well. Right,
okay, great. Hi, ladies. I'm Monique Parrish-Marlowe, and I'm actually in Tampa, Florida, originally from Nashville, moving home next week. Been in the corporate world for 24 years, traveled the world, did a lot of projects in Europe, in New York, and mainly in financial services and healthcare. And I had the Lightbody work done. It'll be 2 years in July, and it's really been phenomenal. My whole life has changed. My relationship with my ex-husband, I had a trauma bond going on with him. We could not co-parent effectively. That's completely changed since then. I now have 2 businesses. One, I work on the shadow with women and help them to do the deep inner healing and shadow work. And I do like corporate consulting and coaching for executive women in corporate. So my whole life has just, it's changed tremendously for the better. It was, I will say, intense accepting all of that light. And Jenny is absolutely correct. I mean, so many times I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Because you were just rising in consciousness so much, and the things that you would tolerate in your life previously, you just no longer tolerate, and you start seeing things from such a wide perspective that you've never seen before. And so with each area of your life, like Jenny's talking about, you kind of assess where you are, and then you make the changes to get to where you want to be. And it's like I call it light steroids because it really is. That's what it's like. It's been amazing. So I highly recommend the service for anyone.
Monique, as well, maybe you want to, because this is so interesting. I remember Monique coming into my Facebook group, and I was like, she's had an awakening. Like, I know I can read everyone psychically. And I think we just were chatting, and then one day you just went, we just started talking properly. I was like, oh, now is the time. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, now she wants to talk. But I felt it before. So it's almost like, I wouldn't say it was a pre-contract, but it's like a sort of, it felt like there was something that's going to land, and it did. But also you realized you had an awakening, but you were not sure what had happened. Is that?
Yes, I wasn't sure what had happened. So in January of 2020, I had a near-death experience. I literally, ladies, almost bled to death. I had a 10-centimeter fibroid on my uterus. I'd just been running so much masculine energy in my body for so long. And at that time, I had what's called a walk-in, and Jenny can explain this more, but basically I had another soul come into my body, and I had like a direct transmission, and I was told, you're here to do my work now, not yours, is what I was told. It was really intense. I had no idea what was going on. So I left the corporate world for a year, went and healed, found Jenny about a year, 15 months later. And everything started making sense at that point. But before that, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going on, really. But you found me right when you're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember being in the group for a few months, and I don't know, I was like, the time will soon come. Like, it was this. And then we're just talking, you were like, that's exactly whatever you're saying to me is ringing true. Like, I just know, sort of thing. And then, because, we have I wanted to say this as well to you ladies, that everyone's awakening experience is different. So some people have some intense stuff happening to them, like Monique had a really intense, physical and I suppose emotional sort of challenge as well at the time, because everything that you knew were to be true didn't feel true anymore. And that's often then a spiritual awakening. Personally, myself, I had this RSB, spiritual awakening, change, a rotation on my soul when I was 23. Again, I had no idea. I knew no one. I couldn't even ask. I had to read books and try to figure it out. It was just, so we all have different experiences, and they are all fine. We just need to find the right support and the energetic support so that we can integrate everything. Because literally, we've come here to do a mission. like we've come, like, yes, we've come here to have a human, earthly, wonderful life, but we've also come to create some huge change, which takes energetic integration to do it. So Carol, would you like to, just share who you are and a little bit of your story, and whatever you feel you want to share.
Hi everyone, I'm a little nervous, but I'm fine. So I just wanted to say, when it was ending, it was end of January, the Lightbody.
Yeah, we officially ended February. We did that extra session with devices as well. Do you remember? So I think it was February.
Yeah, and actually, what's funny, it doesn't feel it's like ending because it's still progressing.
Happening, yes, it's still happening.
Changes happening even afterwards. It's just amazing how I see now from 1 month ago and now what's happening within me, and it's just absolutely amazing. So back to your question, I just have to settle my energy a little bit.
Sure. That's okay.
I'm Carol from Switzerland, and I'm Ascension Guide to hold sacred space in unconditional love for others. So I had actually a very deep spiritual awakening as well before I met Jenny. I had a lot of energetic, initiations. I felt energetic shifts and a lot of light. I had my upper chakras actually was, okay, good, I'm groaning. Actually, my upper chakras was actually very open at the beginning, so much. And I didn't know what's going on with me actually. And when I found you, Jenny, I was actually, I was knowing it's exactly what I need at that moment. I felt it so deep in my soul because I knew I was in that moment when I was finding you, I was like very ungrounded. And why I'm feeling today ungrounded is because I just go today again through some head shifts. Just want to clear this here now. And it was like I was feeling very ungrounded. And I was knowing I had a strong mission, but I wasn't able to make sense of it and even to take action towards it. And I was like, actually kind of feel shocked. I was feeling a lot of fear. You remember, a lot of fear of this progress.
Yes, there was so much fear, wasn't it?
A lot of fear. But the point was that my soul wanted it and had no way then to go through it. And I know this will be the safe space for me with Jenny. And I just felt it will be really safely for me. And it was actually all the process we're going through. It was just, I was able to have less resistance and I integrated every session very well. And I couldn't do this without you. To be honest, I don't know. I think it would be too much for me. And in this, it was a very, very sacred, safe space where I felt safe to just go through. What else I wanted to share? Do you want me to tell what's changed for me or what?
Yeah, I was thinking as well. So from my perspective, working with Carol, so Carol, everything was really physical for you, wasn't it? Throughout the whole thing, like on my crown, oh my God, I can really feel my heart is like this, so Carol's experiences were very physical. Even you had to do some cleansing, like with your bowel, there was a lot of like very physical things. So I think that was just typical for you. I know Monique also had physical stuff going on, but it was just very typical for your physiology. You could feel like the tingles, you could feel everything changing almost in your skin, so intense. So that's kind of an individual experience for Carol, but again, we wanted to really ground everything and found a power in Carol again, because there was so much fear, and this was a lot of past life. And I think you're still having these moments of fear, but it's different.
But it is, yeah.
It's different. But yes, please share. So that was just your individual experience. And I think it still is ongoing. And this is why I decided to, with the 6-month program, we have a 12-month actually check-in. So we are still in contact. I decided to do this for the program because I know that the changes even beyond 12 months will continue. And my clients can always text me, even, past clients is not a problem. But I wanted to actually extend the space another 6 months, as in here we have in the space, we can really connect and talk here. But yes, so for Carol, if you want to share more about, what's changed for you and what you feel different from only just finished.
You know that I was activating the light language at the end.
Yeah.
I was felt like I come more much with my higher self. I come more alignment with my soul. So at the end, I was actually my full soul embodiment. I become my soul embodiment energetically. It doesn't mean but that you will not have some patterns to face, because
Of course.
my pattern came up through this embodiment, but it was for having more awareness to release them so I can step fully into action and go for it.
Mhm.
But you say, but a light body process, some fear came up, or some whatever it is individual, it will come up. What's holding you still back? Maybe it was in my case like this, some fears, and I was able then, by your guidance and all this, to release it. And actually now I feel like, actually already this week, I come so much into my alignment with my mission. I'm more confident to speak. You know, actually, I was a little nervous today. I don't know why I was so nervous today. Normally, I'm already more confident by speaking. But I know from half a year ago, I wouldn't do this, what I'm doing now. Never. Not in my soul alignment. I was so afraid to speak in my complete full soul expression. The more I come into my soul's expression, I felt more fear, because I had past life trauma that I had to release to be in my soul's expression, if that makes sense. Maybe for someone else different. That's why I felt so much past life trauma, and I'm healing through it. And I feel since 2 months, everything is changing, because I'm releasing these things so much that I'm now able to speak about my mission more and more. And the people coming in, the clients coming in.
I know.
It's just happening. And I'm not used to it, that it's happening that way. I was kind of, what's happening now? Everything starts to work,
Yeah.
You have to get used for it, because it's just the beginning. But
now Carol has set up all the systems. She's like, okay, I'm doing Calendly. She's like, setting up all the systems to set the business up properly, which is something that you've been.
I don't know how this is guiding, but I make the step when I'm releasing things and everything starts to align. And I'm sure also Monique can agree with this, and you also, that the more deeper you go, longer you are out of it, the more you will see the benefit of this work. It's incredible. And I realize now, I'm happy about it, even to face my fears and traumas, to realize it, so I can finally shift it, so I can come to full embodiment, at the expression of my full embodiment. And there's something that's really changing. I feel so much change it already.
Yeah, very grounded. It's still happening.
It's still happening a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
still happening, but it's
Yeah.
a big change. I mean, you've gone through the process, it's complete, but there is more changes happening, more grounding, more of your soul coming down. It's just happening all the time.
I think also there are spaces that come more of your soul down, and then you have to balance, you have to ground, then you feel more confident than before, and more things start to align. Then, like now these days, I have to be honest, I felt another integration happening, a little bit brain fog and things, so it's quite intense for me today as well. But I feel after these initiation phases, you become even deeper grounded, even deeper into your mission. You will even have more clarity in actions you can go. So when I have days like now, I just sit back a little, let it happening. And then after I don't know, it's just happening. I have more clarity what I have to do. And I go deep into my mission. And it's really amazing, actually.
Yeah, I think it's the action as well, where you feel it's easier to take action.
Yeah, it's become even more clear about what feels good for you, what doesn't feel good. Intuition comes many times so much stronger. I don't know, it's just,
I would say, I mean, look, this is what I have done. I'm going to be honest with you here, ladies. So ever since I've been doing the Lightbody work, it was always word of mouth before I went online, because as soon as I started to do the Lightbody work, this was in 2014, I think I was started to 15 maybe. So I'd done the process, and then I wanted to do it myself. All the clients I ever got was like word of mouth. So I never had to describe to the world how this work works, because it was the energy that was putting the work in. But now this is why I'm doing these exploratory things like this Q&A, and to see how we can explain it in our own words, so we can spread the word about the work. And my own marketing brain, have to really harness what really is happening through this work, which is my biggest challenge. It's not the big challenge, but it's a bit of a challenge. And I know, Amanda, we've been talking about, I said, this is how you describe your services. You're like, this is doing my head in. How can I describe exactly the result? So this is something obviously I am passionate about, because I love marketing as well. But nevertheless, what I really wanted today was to have this deep connection and conversation about the work, so that people can really feel as well what's happening when this work, you know, when you commit to this work. So thank you, Carol, for that. Maybe now, did you want to say anything more, Carol? Because we can maybe do some questions, so we can have a just open chat.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yes.
Yeah. So feel free, you know, intimate room. Feel free to ask questions now, ladies. And we just have a free flowing conversation. Michelle, Amanda, or Debs? Everyone's shy. Amanda.
Hi ladies, I've got a little bit of a sore throat, so please bear with me. Croaky.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, really interesting to listen to both sides of the story, but individually, but it's the same outcome type of thing. Did you find that once you felt more in alignment with your clients, your sort of self-expression just flowed more easily? Do you think it was harder before you taken the Lightbody into expressing yourself, kind of thing? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I can answer that. Absolutely. So I feel like I have always been more dark feminine. Even when I was in corporate, I've always had this kind of edge to myself. I would say more of a boldness, and it's not really revered in like modern society, you know? And I felt that I was really holding that back. And now after I've done the Lightbody, I'm fully 100% authentically myself, and I don't worry about what anyone thinks about me. And I've become magnetic, and I'm attracting these women who want the same thing, who want to, you know, step into their power, step into their true authentic self. And there's absolutely no way that I could be leading these women now had I not gone through the Lightbody process. There's just no way. Yeah, I'm just like I'm me, here I am. And it just makes you feel so good. It really does. Yeah.
Also, so you ladies are familiar with you know, the dark feminine, you know, Kali Ma, and we have Sekhmet, we have, you know, Hathor, we have Lilith, like we have the dark feminine side. And maybe we want to say this because also people watching the replay might want to understand the concept of it all. So Monique and I, we were working on this, like, not technically, I wasn't telling her what to do, but she was like, oh my God, like, you know, Carly, you know, came in, and I was like, yes, you know, you're really meant to plug into the dark feminine. And then we kind of, you know, we're doing those things. But the whole idea of awakening is to embody both our darkness and our light. But we have been programmed to believe that we are only light. And if we have a little darkness in us, then we are bad people or bad women. And that's kind of what we are breaking here. It's about us harnessing the power of both. And it's not necessarily a promise of the Lightbody program that you will be, you know, embodying your dark goddess. But it's like if it is a part of your path to harness that energy and to bring that forth, to create change for other women in whatever shape or form you like, then it will come through. And for example, with Carol, she was like, I have this, you were saying about you feeling the dark, right? I was like, right, let's bring it on. And so it wasn't as prominent because, but also Carol is still processing. But I think what it feels like is this wholeness of the soul and the wholeness of who you truly are, completely uncensored. because like we're censored all the time, right? Will come through. And that's where the power is.
It felt so good.
Yeah, it feels so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were standing up for yourself so much in a way you never did, Carol, didn't you?
I have this softness. I have this really lovely softness, healing energy.
Yeah,
And
angelic. Yeah.
at the same time, I have this kind of really strong boundary setting. When someone doesn't respect me or the way I should get respected, but still in a loving way, it is still so much respect for this person. It comes also out of love, but it is really strict. It's
Yeah.
really,
And you never had that before.
you
You didn't even, you were like, what is this, Jenny? What's coming through? I'm like, right, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we had fun with that.
So it's the polarity then. It's the light and the dark and blending it together. So you're a full force of who you truly are. Yeah, I find that I've got kind of like a really gentle side, but when I'm with the right clients, I'm quite assertive and quite like, this is how it is and this is what we're doing and that's how we're going to do it. And it's kind of really feels good, but then I step back into the, oh no, that's a bit too much, perhaps, you know, so that kind of sways me a little bit. So it is getting that balance of the both polarity into polarity.
Yeah, it becomes
More balanced.
yeah, more balanced and just is the whole force. Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Debs, Michelle, did you have any questions?
So I'm wanting to ask something around possibly losing a lot of one's energy, one's light through perhaps giving too much. And yeah, all the factors that are around that sort of empathic personality perhaps. And how does Lightbody work actually help regulate oneself and actually balance, as you were saying, balance out that energy again?
So I'm going to ask Monique and Carol to answer those questions in their own way. So
Yeah, I can go for it.
yeah, go on, Carol. You go first.
I completely understand you, Michelle, as I'm very empathic and I had the whole life already before problems by too much sacrificing myself, overgiving, oversharing. And that's also why I was so afraid a little bit of my mission, because I will be maybe not being able to handle all these people and just giving too much from my own energy, not knowing where I should set boundaries. So I had this very, very much, to be honest. And now I feel that it's almost so much changing. It's just like, I don't have this like before. I know exactly where is my limit and on how I should guide them. It's much more aligned, I will say. So it's also the balance between feminine, masculine energy, I will say. And you will become just, you will know, you will not have, you will, when you come more alignment with your soul, it wouldn't feel good anymore when you overshare. It won't work anymore.
It doesn't work exactly that.
I think that's the point, right?
Yes.
It won't work. It will feel so bad that you wouldn't do it again.
And you won't even feel bad about feeling it, because you just feel this is not right.
Yeah.
This is out of alignment. Like, well, this is not the truth. So I can't do that. So, and then you don't feel bad, because you're like, well, this is universal truth. So I don't feel bad.
Yeah, you feel more bad if you are keep oversharing. That
yes, you feel bad then. Because it's like, now I'm not being true to the universe. I'm being, untrue to myself.
You get so much in alignment that you feel more when you're out of alignment, and you come faster back into alignment again. It's really helping you to stay in alignment. So
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. I just wanted to make.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I really feel that what happened for me, these programs, ladies, that we collectively have been, I mean, for lack of a better word, we've been under a spell where we feel like we have to self-sacrifice that we have to do everything for everyone. Those programs were broken for me through the Lightbody process. I no longer feel like that. I do not overgive. And it is the alignment thing. And there's this self-betrayal that I see with a lot of women. They're always betraying themselves. And once you get this work, you're so in tune with your soul and who you are. There's just no room for that. It's not even in your consciousness, ladies, to even do it anymore. That's the beauty of this work. You know, it takes you to the next level, and you're thinking, oh my God, that version of me that used to do that. Wow. You know, I have compassion for that woman, you know, but I'm so glad I'm not her anymore.
Yeah, that is such a good. Yeah, I mean, personally, I share it with you guys as well. So I met my husband, or probably got together with him in 2007. And in 2009, that's when I started to have the work done. So the first 2 years were, I was very submissive. And anyone knowing me now would you not think I'm submissive, right? Not exactly. So I was like, oh my God. And it was almost like all the things that I didn't agree with in our relationship, I just put up with. And as soon as I had work done, I was like, oh my holy mother here, I've got to change these things. How do I get him to agree with me? And it was a little bit tough, but we had only been together for 2 years. So it wasn't like I had 20 years of backlog to sort out. And I did it gently. I was like, I could see how I was changing. So I was gently guiding. So it wasn't so bad. But God, it took a little time. And it took some time as well, because his mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, she's great, but she's like so old paradigm, trauma stuck and completely in this cycle. And it took us some time to come into an alignment after we've had all this change, but it was all worth it. It's like wonderful, you know. So I just wanted to add that. So with Michelle, what is it you're feeling that you think, oh my God, I want to stop this. Like I don't want this in my life. What is it that you don't want?
I guess what I don't want is possibly trying to be everything to everyone else, I guess. Yeah. And really work out what I need to be for myself.
Do you feel like you have clarity on who you want to be, or you're still kind of looking, who do I really want to be?
I think I know internally quite well who I want to be, but I just can't really express it externally yet. It doesn't quite feel safe enough to do that.
And that's your external sort of structures. Is that your relationship, work, like what, family? Is it that?
Yes, and work especially, because obviously they have certain requirements and so on. But I know what I'm good at, and it's not necessarily what they want. So yeah.
There's communication and clarity around what you would like to contribute with, but you're not really able to sort of completely get that clear with them.
Yeah.
Is it a fear holding you back from being not then accepted, or?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Could maybe have a think about that, actually. What would that, like, you can take that away sort of thing, you know? What would that be? That is it a fear of not being accepted, or is it that you're not sure how it's going to be perceived, or do you maybe don't believe in yourself enough to think you can carry it through? Like, do you know what I mean? What's the reasons? You maybe want to go and do some maybe journaling or some writing on that, because that will kind of because it's almost like until you stop thinking, what is that? it won't maybe come unless you stop thinking, unless you stop and say, right, what is this, you know? There's a little homework for you.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome. More questions? Deb. I think she's got the.
I'm here. I don't,
Oh, it's got, yeah, there we go.
there we go. You can hear me now. Sorry. I really don't have any questions. I've enjoyed listening to all of you guys and going through the divine healing and the ascension clearings is, you know, a lot of the light body stuff, the things that you feel afterwards. And if you're not doing the energy healings, I've noticed that my body says, I'm not going to be nice to you today. You know, I suffer from trigeminal neuralgia and I've had a bout of it like nobody's business this last week. And I'm going to get some blood work done today and hopefully they'll be able to tell me if there's something else going on with that. But, you know, I'm all in and looking forward to maybe doing it. I mean, it just, you know, got to figure out finances first. But I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us in conjunction with the divine healing that I do and the ascension clearings that we do, that it's going to be phenomenal for us.
So what's I mean, if you don't mind sharing, what's happening with you physically? Because often when those things come to the surface, it's just you holding more light, and then there's an opportunity for healing. But
So I have the trigeminal neuralgia. It's the 3 nerves behind my left ear in this case. And sometimes it'll flare up. And typically it's like we'll say it's an ice cream headache on steroids. It's like, and it'll affect anywhere from the whole left hemisphere of my head. And if the wind blows, it's obnoxious. Well, last week, like I get Bell's palsy with it sometimes too, where my mouth will droop. Well, last week my mouth drooped, my eye drooped, and I couldn't function. And so it's similar to a stroke, but there's nothing going on with my brain necessarily because it's all nerve.
Sure.
And so they can do a macrovascular surgery for it, but because my pain is not consistent, I don't want them in my head.
Yeah.
My last big flare up like this was in 2019. Right before the pandemic hit. I was laid up for almost a full year. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. If it happens bad again, then I'll consider surgery. And I don't want them in my, I definitely don't want.
So just for curiosity here, what did you have a trauma, or was that a sort of, is it hereditary, or like, do you know what I mean? What is the cause as medically?
The first time it occurred, I woke up with, we don't know exactly why it happened, but the first time it occurred, I woke up with a bite or some little spot on my eye here. Went into the doctor, he gave me antibiotics and antihistamine just in case it was a spider bite and I was having a reaction to it. And that day, my eye swelled, my ear, there was pressure in my ear. It felt like there was literally something trying to climb out of my head. And we did MRIs and MRAs of the arteries and everything, and they could never find anything. So there's been nothing to show. Even when I do my MRIs and my MRAs now, they can't see that the nerves are touching, because that's what the trigeminal neuralgia is. It's like the nerves touch and they spark and they cause an issue. And I've gone through and I've done like lidocaine injections and stuff, but they only work sometimes they work for a week, sometimes they work for a day. And it's like, I'm not going to have you poke a needle in my head for a day's worth of work.
Sure.
So I can wear a lidocaine patch and sometimes that'll help. Or I wear an ice pack all over my head, like a migraine ice pack. But
so when you do the ascension clearings, do you have them spells of it flaring up and then calming down?
You know, I haven't, although last week I did the third eye clearing. But I've done it before and I haven't had the flare up. So it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I forgot that I did that on Wednesday. And I did the energy clearings as well. I did the quadruple grid and the energy hygiene kit.
Mm.
But I did do the third eye clearing on Wednesday.
Mm. So is it on your left side?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it behind your ear?
It's here and here.
Mm. So this is where your light language translator unit is. So I'm going to show you now what it looks like energetically. And this is actually, so the Lightbody work, yes, it will help. How long the like transformation or the healing or like the adjustment will take, I don't know. But I know it will help. I'll show you something on my.
I don't have any questions, but work on me.
Yeah, well, you know, so through the process, you've got the light language. Well, I'm just going to show you something here.
You know that? I want to say you something first. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's the light language.
Actually, I had this also child here on this side, this kind of sometimes migraine. And I have persistent migraine aura. That means I see sometimes flickers of light. And I didn't know a long time ago what it is, but I became more sensitive. And also, I think it has something to do with what Luciani explained to you. I think something about also about our gifts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, if you didn't have, because this is how we look at it from a physiological perspective. If you didn't have a trauma, like an accident or a car accident, or like had somebody in war, like PTSD, then we would say from this perspective that this is energetic, because the trauma happening to somebody is also energetic, because there's also a reason for that trauma to happen, so that the person will have to have this experience.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, what also came to me when you were talking is stress. So when you are under higher levels of stress, it also gets worse. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, like I have a client who's got vertigo, and it's not serious, but it's sometimes really bad, and that's under stress. So look, we know these things, right? That conditions get worse. But with the light, so that's kind of known. But with the light language translator unit, so there is behind the left ear, from a technical point of view, with the Lightbody work, a energetic translator unit that is connecting to the higher dimensions, or like your higher self, like up, being able to translate and receive codes of light language or other. Some of my clients will start singing in light language or start painting in light language because there's new codes coming through. I suppose the benefit of that is to bring more healing energy through you, whatever. And it may be speaking or talking. It doesn't have to be a specific exact thing, but it's something that is wanting to come through.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, like I do speak light language. It doesn't come through all the time. I believe I channel all the time. So for me, it's not as specific. I have a friend who does it with paintings, right? She will paint every day, which is great. But what I'm saying here is that there is that the light language translating. Do you want to say something, Carol? Because you had, I think also Monique had experience with this, but did you want to say something about the feeling you've had on the left side, Carol? Was there anything you experienced there?
Actually, I have it on the right side.
Yeah, but there's things in
I don't know,
both sides.
it's really easy to say, but I just feel like that was now sometimes when I didn't know what it is, this migraine aura, because it's still little there, But what I realize is now when I have had Crohn or third eye upgrades, that is really affecting the sea view.
Yeah.
A little bit shifted. So it's kind of, I don't know I don't know, I still don't know how exactly what's going on there, but I feel there's something going on with how my ability starts to get more channeling. I get really like clear knowing and some medium things, the really strange things happening, and these things are still there. And I'm trying to make sense of it, if this is still a trauma I'm holding, or is about my healing abilities. I have no idea exactly what's going on.
Sure, it's hard to describe sometimes as well what you're actually feeling. You're just feeling the shift or the change, but you don't really know the words for it, right? What about you, Monique? Did you have, I can't even remember now, did you have anything on the left side?
I mean, where I didn't have any pain, but like now, whenever, you know, I'm an open channel, so whenever spirit is coming in, the whole back of my head and my neck tingles, you know, and my crown just tingles the whole time. But in terms of health wise, you know, and I know this is lined up with the Chiron return that I went through as well. So it's very significant. Yeah. And, you know, I had the physical issues, and I like started going through menopausal symptoms too, like perimenopausal symptoms during this time as well. But I didn't really have any. I was just tired. I think I was just exhausted from running all that masculine energy, being in the corporate world, being stressed out, having to, you know, just living this modern life, and doing this work. It just allowed me to really relax and get into my feminine energy is what it did for me. It calmed my nervous system down tremendously, which really, that's what we need. We need our nervous system to calm down, to be able just to receive the healing, receive the light, and then raise our consciousness so we can look at those traumas and we can look at those emotions that we've repressed. For me, that was just instrumental, slowing down and just allowing things to process and allow things to come up that needed to be cleared. And, you know, Jenny worked with me. She did divine healing on me every other week as well. I also got certified in divine healing because it was such a profound healing modality. I just knew, like, my soul, it's like, okay, you're going to take this class. You have to learn this because you need to do this for yourself and for other people. But yeah, I had the just symptoms of exhaustion for quite a while, but it was coupled with hormones and everything else I was going through physically. Yeah.
Yeah. So does that ring true for you, Debs, that it triggers off when things have been intense for you? Or?
Yeah, I don't know if it triggers everything for me. The problem, let me go to it. In honesty, when it's always there, it's always at a level 1 or 2. It's when it's at the level 6 and 7s that I just simply can't function. It's because I can't think. I can't formulate sentences. It's hard to be. So I don't feel like it's similar in that regard. It's very, you know, I was on the phone with my daughter, as a matter of fact. She's like, Mama, do you need to go to the emergency room? Because she was so concerned, you know, that it was a stroke. And I'm like, no, you just happen to be here you get to see me with the worst one. So my husband was right there, and she called him, was like, are you with Mom? You know, and I am watching her. She's okay. This is normal. This is how, not normal, but it's the normal for this. Sure. So, you know, and I take into consideration the stress. So I meditate, I do all of those things, trying to alleviate it. Sometimes I think it correlates with the time of the year. I don't know if it's a moon cycle, if it's a seasonal cycle or what. Like, we do watch that to see if it's a barometric pressure, if it's sea level, if it's whatever's in the air, because like we were in San Diego for 3 weeks and San Diego just killed me. We were hoping when I got back home it would be okay, because I'm back in Dallas now. And it, you know, yesterday was a bad day. I had to take medicine for it, and I was in bed for, you know, 2 hours, up for 4 and back in bed again for 2. So, I mean, it's just, maybe I was, I did ask last week after my clearing for a download. Maybe I'm,
Yeah.
maybe I'm, no.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, listening to what you're saying, it really, there is some deep healing that wants to take place, because ultimately you'd like to not have that intensity, right? Because also we haven't done your soul contract reading, but I remember you have a 21-3. So it means like you have this endurance, and I think it was some physical talents, but it's like you have this endurance, and it's almost like your body hasn't got always the capacity to bring all this endurance through that your soul wants to bring through. So it compromises, it makes you stop, right, to lay down so that you can't do anything.
That makes,
Yeah. So this endurance, so then, through the light body work, obviously the things will heal that created this in the first place, but also gives you more expansion, like in your cells, to really allow whatever needs to release, and then more light to come in, so that it's more embodied, slow down, but at the same time be more intentional and focused. Because I think that's what happens, like, is decluttering as well, because you become so intentional. But yeah, so it sounds like, I mean, you're doing great with ascension clearings, but I think, yeah, it would be really good for you.
I think so. I think a little deeper dive would do great.
Yeah.
Get this thing done, and then I'd be super
Wow.
happy.
But can you imagine not having that? I mean, look, I could never put a guarantee on things, right? It's like saying, if you're a doctor in a surgery and say, I'm going to completely heal, they don't want to promise anything, right? Always do their best. But I do believe that just listening to what you're saying, I feel you can heal it. Like, it feels like it's very healable. Especially as there wasn't any impact trauma. Not mean that you can't heal that as well, but sometimes it can be, something's been really, compounded. It can get time to release it, because it's just the cells have been, so traumatized. But this sounds more like a stress thing, and something that manifested so that you stop.
Yeah, I started so long ago too. I think my kids were, I think my baby was still in middle school, and he just turned 30.
Wow, so it's been no time.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we round up, did you have any more questions, Amanda or Michelle, before we round up? Monique or Carol, did you want to say anything before we close the session?
I just want to say I highly recommend this work. If you are sitting on the fence about it, it's been truly transformational for me. And there's no way that I could have left the corporate world and like really stepped into my mission without this work. I mean, I had so much self-doubt. It just, it speaks for itself now. And I just highly recommend it. I really do.
Thank you. She's transformed.
Big time.
Carol, did you want to say anything?
Yes, I agree with that. There's nothing more to say, actually. I would still be stuck if I wouldn't do it. So I'm happy about it. But my choice.
Yeah.
Very, very transformative. And I think if I speak with you half year again, it'll be completely changed again.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're still going. In 6 months, I'll have you on this call again. And you'll be like, oh my God, this has changed.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, ladies. So thank you for coming. And if you have any questions anytime, let me know. You know where I am. Thank you all of you for taking the time, spending this hour and a bit with us. Really appreciate your time. Hey, I see you all soon. Sending you lots of love.
Thank you, Jenny.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thank you,
Bye.
ladies. Thank you, all of you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.